How's it going, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, and this is day 7 of Devastator Week, and you know what that means. That means we're bringing out the thing. But let's put this aside for now. Just a moment. By now we should have 6 Constructicons. A pile of horns, and a big pile of energon cubes. Oops, I just dropped one on the floor. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, let's get into that. First of all, how good does that set look? Just all lined up and doing their vehicle mode things in the vehicle mode. God, I love it. The set is just so good. I love it so much. Alright, let's get all this crap out of the way. So what we're going to do is, I've heard a lot of people complaining about all of the excessive amount of prosthetics that you get to make this Devastator, and they're not wrong. There's an awful lot here to keep the aesthetics of the animation. They have done a lot of stuff. You cover up a lot of the you cover up basically all of long haul when you put them in here. Of course, thighs and waist being an additional thing is nothing new. That's the way it was even back on the original G1 toy. Also with the forearms being extra, the chest plate and the head. The mechanism for latching the head onto the body has made this framework here. And I mean, really when you look at this, the only offending part is just this waist section here, which covers up long haul. But in order to make long haul work in this regard, like, he'd have to be, you know, almost twice as wide as he is as a toy, and he would look ridiculous compared to the other ones. So, like, this is a compromise, and I don't think that this is a bad compromise. Again, with Newage on the set and sculpted details versus painted details, I would have loved to see some paint apps on this. A little bit of silver detail on that would have been fantastic. But, I don't know. I'm not the engineer in charge of this. I could have seen some paint on top of here. That would have been nice. Maybe someday I'll go into this with a little bit of paint myself. I don't know. Not sure exactly how strongly I feel about that. Good little spot to keep a Decepticon logo in there. But let's get into transformation real quick. So we're going to start with Mixmaster. What you want to do is you want to just kind of pull this out. You'll need to separate this to give it all the clearance to come out. His legs are going to come out like so. You want to fold out these panels. These are going to form the toe of Devastator. There are little panels that are attached into his thighs. You're going to bring these out. And then you're going to bring this up in such a way. Let's fold out these guys while we're in here. So you're going to bring this up in such a way that this slot here goes onto this tab, and this little slot here goes onto that tab. Like so. And again with the other side. Like so. Make sure that these are back together. And then you want to flip out this panel here. And again, it's really easy for me to make this comparison because I used to have the Magic Square guys turn the foot mode on the Magic Square is just it's a whole process. It's a whole process that involves part forming in his gun and stuff like that. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not very intuitive, and it was really frustrating. Which isn't to say that I dislike complicated transformers, because I don't. But, you know, if you can do something in a complicated way and you can do something in a simple way and they both do the same thing, like, it makes much more sense to do it the simple way. There he is, all combined up. We're going to fit him off to the side. Now we're going to grab our scrapper here. This one's also really easy. Just take his arms, disconnect them from the tabs that you got him in. That tab is really holding on. Extend this part out, fold this up like so. Now you're going to bring this around, and there is a little peg right here in the tab, and that's just going to fit into there. And that's really all that there is to that. You will want to disconnect this from those pegs to prepare it to connect up. Next, we're going to take long haul here, and for long haul, we're just going to fold them like that. That's all you need. For hook, what we're going to do is we're going to open up this front panel here. That makes it easier to yank on his waist. Close that back. Take his hands and fold them so they're facing down towards where the ground would be if he was rolling, and close them up. And then take this and bring it around, fold this part down here and extend this out, and then just tab this all together. That's all you got for that. For this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to take his gun off and throw him on the pile. Same for that guy. Alright, now bringing our Devastator into the fray, I'm going to bring up my tripod. Still probably not going to be brought up enough. I'll try and keep this all in frame as I work. So we've got these little pegs here. We're going to fit into that slot there and that slot there. And then this is going to tab in like so. For the other leg, we've got this disconnecting. We're going to unpeg these legs, and they're going to come around onto this T connection here. And then these pegs are going to plug back into their body. And now he's standing up. And ta-da, he's complete. Just kidding, he's not complete yet. Let's get his ankles tilted in so that he stands securely. We're going to go around to his back, and we're going to tilt this part forward. And long haul is just going to clip right into there. And then close that up. Let me adjust my lighting just a bit. Back here you've got this guy here. These tabs are going to plug into these holes here. Which is, strangely enough, one of the trickier parts of this whole transformation. And then with that in, you're going to take these panels and you're going to fold them down so that these tabs on the end here go into that slot. Like so. Bring his head back. There is a slot here. That's really just for alignment. It doesn't peg into that with any amount of force. It locates on that tab. And then you're going to bring this back up. And then you're going to bring up his shoulder to click to to not click, but go into that little tab, and then this little locking peg is going to go on top of that. And again with the other side, bring that up and lock that in. And then for these shoulders, all you're going to do, you want to bring this head out, because this head is going to fit into that. Oh, let's bring this into frame. This square part of his head is going to fit into the square part of that. And I'm trying to remember exactly how I did. I think I actually turned his head around to make that work. No, I think I didn't. I think I turned him around to begin with and then had problems. So this tab is going to fit into that slot. These tabs here are going to fit into these slots. And we're just going to bring this around and plug them all in. Then with that plugged in, we're going to take this and we're going to fold this down, fold this up, just to kind of lower that profile there. And then last but not least, this one's going to take a little bit more work, but we're going to take this guy, we're going to fold it up. And you want to unpeg these legs. Because what they're going to do is the legs are going to come down, and these slots here on the legs are going to go into these tabs here. And then this big peg is going to fit into this big hole, and this little peg is going to fit into this little slot. So, right like so. Tab those in. Tab that in, and then bring this down. And these little tabs that were to keep this guy together in alt mode, and then this big peg, they're all just going to click in at the same time. And there you have Hephaestus in his combined mode. And you know, once you get everything all combined together and aligned properly, like everything fits together really well. The figure has just got a lot of character to it. It's very, very clean from the front and the back. And it just looks really good. Of course, he comes with this one accessory, which is his gun. It's got pegs on it to fit into either palm. You saw him just now. This does, if you're the kind of person who likes batteries in your things, you can take this all apart and put some batteries in it. I'm not a battery person, but it is a thing that you can do. And then there's a button back here, and it makes noise because there's the little sound box, and it makes a light. There's the LED on the end. I haven't done that. I haven't tracked down the whatever kind of button batteries there are that keeps us all together. I'm not keen enough on that to really want to do that. I know I should probably do that for the sake of people watching this video so they can see the full experience of this figure. But you know what? It's a lot of work tracking down all these random button batteries to try them out, and then I don't even keep them around because I don't like displaying my figures with batteries in them. That only causes bad news in the future. So he also has got a button here on the side of his head that will light up his eyes if I had that in there. Other features that he's got, you can fold this up and then fold away. Oh, let me see if I can get this with some light. Fold away his eye visors. Fold this back down. So you can have him with a visor or without a visor. I prefer him with the visor. I anticipate some sort of an accessory kit for this guy because his face comes off super easily. And it'd be really easy to have some like alternate faces on him. That would be kind of cool actually, I think. But yeah, that's it for action features and whatnot. Let's get into his articulation. His head is on a ball joint. He'll look up and down, more down than up, which is great. His head goes around just fine. A little bit obstructed to the back of his head on the this, but it's not really that big of an issue. As you can see, it goes around just fine. His shoulder is on a really strong, really smooth hinge. It goes out for most of a tree pose, not all of one though. It will go all the way around. You can move this panel out of the way to get that out. He's got a bicep swivel and a single joint hinge with the full range of posability and a cool little die-cast piston detail on the back. Same articulation for the other arm. His arms are asymmetrical, of course. Goes out for most of a tree pose, bicep swivel, elbow joint. Both of his hands are posable the same way. He's got a ball joint on the thumb and a single hinge, and then a ball joint and a single hinge for each of his fingers. Unfortunately, this does make for an awkward looking fist, because it just never seems to curl up properly. But I don't think that it's really all that bad, especially at the scale that we're working with. His hand is on a swivel and a joint that pulls it out to the side. Like I mentioned, he's got, you can move these around so that he can bring his arms out to the front without conflicting them with that chest wing. He does have an ab crunch. This is a dedicated ab crunch. This isn't the opening part of his body to put in long haul. This is something separate. Ab crunch for that much. Waist joint comes around just fine. If you have issues bringing his waist around, if you have issues with the tires here on long haul interfering, you can of course take these tires and bring them out like so, and then they will not interfere even in the slightest with the possibility of that, but they will stick out a little bit more from the back. So that would have to be up to you. He's got skirt armors here, front, back, and side. Leg will go forward that much, go backwards that much, go out. This is go out on a ratchet for most of a Van Damme. Thigh swivel here. He's got a double joint here, which is kind of interesting. His upper joint here is tied in with his leg armor, and you can see how that slides when that comes up. And then you've got a ratchet for the lower part of that. Again, with the other leg, you've got this single joint here and then a double joint for the rest of it. For his lower leg, of course, you've got pivoting here, and due to the waist joint on this figure, you've got some turning, some ankle pivots there. Same with this guy, though the pivot doesn't really seem to want to work as well as you work that. It wants to untab this whole thing. One thing that I do think is kind of ridiculous is if you look at his leg here, he's got this doofy little face on his shin. And honestly, that's like the one part of this whole figure that I can just never unsee. And congratulations, now you guys can never unsee it either. Anytime you look at a Newage Hephaestus figure, you're going to be like, oh yeah, there's that doofy little face. But yeah, pivoting this ankle tends to untab that, so it's not the easiest articulation to do. But posing him is actually not too difficult. He's not really that bad in terms of being back heavy or whatnot. Of course, no like forward and back motion on the ankles, so you got to kind of account for that. My my work table is not exactly level, but you know, with a little bit of finessing, you can get it into a good pose each and every time. But yeah, this figure is fantastic. It looks great. It feels great. It just, everything everything comes together in such a beautiful, wonderful way. I love this. I dig it a whole lot. So let's do some size comparisons, I guess, because I've been doing it with all of them so far. Here we've got Megatron. Here we've got Starscream. We'll just lean him up against Devastator. We've got one of the Autobot Carbots because that was requested. Here's a Newage Bumblebee coming up to his toe. Some of the promotional materials show him holding, I guess it's Cliff Jumper, who's the same size, in his hand. So he can do that. Real quick while I'm thinking about it. There he is with the Mech Fans Toys Huge Dragon. That's actually a pretty good lineup. Here he is with the Toy World Grant. I think that's a pretty good lineup, though that never happened in the cartoon that I know of. I consider this to be a Legend scale Fort Max. And primarily for the animation team on the Transformers the movie, there he is with Astro Train. Let me just, shove this guy into my Astro Train. No, don't work. But yeah, this figure it's beautiful. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's not that expensive. I mean, I talk about my first third-party Devastator was the TFC Hercules, and that figure, all in all, cost me over $700 because I got all of the figures at full price plus shipping, and I got the Rage of Hercules set, and he was a very expensive guy, and I let him go for significantly less than what I paid for him because he had depreciated over time. I've got the Toy World Devastator, which again, each of those figures was about $100, and it's huge. And I could show him for scale, but he's currently posed up. Maybe I'll bring him out anyhow. Yeah, that's the scale right there. That's pretty rad, actually. So, I mean, this Hephaestus is like, I guess he's a little over $300. And it's, as far as third-party Devastators go, he's great for your buck. I know that you can get cheaper Devastators out there. The Hasbro Devastator is like $150. I think it currently goes for about $200 in the aftermarket. And I mean, yeah, if that's your thing, if you're more concerned about price than aesthetics, then I think that that's a fine alternative. But if you're collecting Legends class figures, basically it's going to come down to this guy or your I guess Mastermaid has got a little like super deformed style Devastator that they've got. DX9 has got their Hulky or whatever they call it, but it's nothing compared to this set. And yeah, this is clearly the way to go. But anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic, and I will talk to you later. See ya.